Okay, it's a Merger Tuesday. It's a Deal Tuesday, as also Twitter resumes trading. Scott Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. We're going to put some of that aside for a second, talk some commodities, though. There's a big bullish optimism building here this week so far, Scott. But alongside stocks is crude oil back into the mid-80s. Does that have a little bearish string attached or what?
I think we have to wait to see after tomorrow what the OPEC announcement is, Oliver. To me, it seems a little bit like a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. I wouldn't be surprised that if, it's anything but this, purported upwards of 2 million barrel a day decrease, that we see oil come back down a good 5% or so. So to me, I think people are trying to get ahead of this announcement. Fundamentally here, if it weren't for OPEC here, you look at what's going on with yields and some of the other macro data, the JOLT number, and I'd say that points to some headwinds for oil here. But again, the wild card is what they decide to do with pulling back the reins on production.
Okay. Now, the pulling back of reins to some degree, I think, has already been a little surprising as crude popped pretty big on the report from the cut. But your point is here, there still could be some nuances to this?
Absolutely. I really think so. If we see 1 million barrels a day, which was kind of the initial expectation here, yeah, I think that crude falls 3, 4, 5%. I really do. Unless we see a massive cut, I think short term right now, at least in this environment, I think there's some headwinds. Overall, if I had to project out into the future, I think crude is probably going to find a range of 90 to 95. But I think short run here, barring a massive cutback, we see a print lower. The CME has a watch, if you will, much like they have a watch tool for what the FOMC is going to do with interest rates. They have one for the announcement from OPEC. Early this morning, it was 50-50 whether there was going to be no, cutback at all or some sort of cutback. That has now shifted to about 33-67, a third, two-thirds. So a third saying that there is no cutback, two-thirds saying that there is going to be a cutback. So we'll see how accurate that is, but it's actually kind of cool to watch that change during the day, the dynamics. And that's all based on CME crude options that are trading throughout the day.
Love that. Very cool. Scott, is your general view that short term there should be some more pressure in this asset because of demand, or that it's just not enough, or rather there's going to still be enough supply to push that price lower? Which side kind of informs that short-term bearish view?
I think it's more on the demand side, but again, you have the wild cards of OPEC, and then what's going to happen with Russia. That still keeps some degree of uncertainty, some degree of volatility across all commodity spaces, but certainly with crude, natural gas, and the like.
Okay. It does seem a little odd, that the whole narrative for why stocks are up right now is that the economic data is going to soften enough to cause the Fed to make some change, but then crude oil is rallying too. So if the demand is softening because of the economy, then that may not be the message being signaled by crude if there's some demand element at play here.
No, there's definitely a disconnect. There's no question about it. And, we'll get a little bit more clarity tomorrow. But again, to me, this almost looks like an Apple event, where it's a buy the rumor and then the event comes out and you sell the rally. So that's what it looks like to me. Okay.
So thinking about crude, how it relates to the other commodities, generally, is this a time here where we need to be cautious about the commodity trade if the economy is slowing down? Is there potential that maybe we get some relief in some of the other high flyers?
There certainly is, but look at copper, right? Copper, we have not seen a rally like we did with gold, like we did with silver, especially. And copper is really more of a barometer to me of demand and what's going on with economies across the world. So I'm looking at that and saying, what, there is some slowing down here, which I know bad news, good news scenario that we're in right now, but we're in such a confluence of economic report, day to day, just microcosm, everybody picking apart every last announcement, every last report. That is what's causing this massive volatility.
Okay. I like the point about copper, because even though it's up today, copper's been trading basically 1-to-1 with the yield curve. So down near the lows, there's something strange there again here, because the yield curve is getting crunched today, but copper is bouncing, and those two have actually been very well connected. So I like that on our radar. Thanks, Mr. Bauer. Informative as always.
You got it.
Scott, CEO, Prosper Trading Academy.